Why am I still searching? That is a question to you, and one I think that many people I've worked with, the voices, the questions that come through, is this constant search. We navigate through metaphysics, we try different techniques, different paths, because we're searching at a soul level, I think. Is that been your journey? I'm going to be getting into this as a teaching today. I want to welcome people that are joining from, hello Soren, great to see you on the live. I can see who is joining. Why don't you say hello? Before I get into the teachings, I like to welcome you. I want to hear from what part of the world you're joining me from. If you don't know me, you might have just stumbled across this live stream, it might have popped up. I'm Paul Williams, and I'm broadcasting this from Melbourne, Australia. You might be a subscriber to this channel, you might have just got this on a recommended feed, but welcome to you nonetheless. Why don't you let me know in the comments where you are joining from. Most people listen to YouTube, but they're on the go, they're scrolling. So what I like to do, and it's better for me as well, because I can focus and can really get into teachings and deliver you a better message. So what I do is when I get into doing the teachings, which I will in a moment, I will turn the camera off and then I will teach. Because most people, they just listen anyway. Is that your habit on YouTube? Do you tend to just start a stream or a video and then you just mainly listen to it, particularly if it's not heavily graphic content? But that's what I'll be doing today. And I invite you to really, in a state of presence, absorb the words. Let them go into your spirit. Let them ruminate within you. So that being said, I'm going to switch my camera off. And I'm going to be addressing this is why do people keep searching? You might have done the work. You might have read the books. Maybe you've already, even with myself, you've explored healing paths, energy work, personal development, spiritual traditions. You've had profound moments, aha moments, synchronicities, things that feel real, powerful. But if you are really honest, there's still a quiet ache. There's still this unsettled sense that you haven't quite found what you are looking for. You sense that it hasn't quite landed for you. It's what I'm going to be speaking directly to today. The soul is wise, but it can't save you. Hello, Javita. Great to see you joining on the live. Javita is not only greeting me, she's greeting all of us. And by the way, Javita, I read your note just before your comment on YouTube here, and I appreciate you and your kind words. The soul is wise, but it can't save you. See, many of us are under this understanding that we need to somehow save ourselves. We try to save ourselves. And haven't you found that process disappointing? Because your own soul can't do the saving, but boy, will it try. boy, will it explore, boy, will it try to lead. And if you listen to my last live stream, you have heard me speak about the soul isn't meant to lead, although it does for most. The soul is meant to allow the spirit, your spirit, to do the leading. You see, that's where we get it wrong. We do the searching from the soul. We try to find salvation and remedy from the level of the soul. But here's the thing that most people miss. Your soul can't save you. So what it will do instead, it will go on a journey and inevitably a loop, because it cannot suffice what it cannot do. Now, stay with me here for a moment. Your soul is not your enemy. The soul is wise. But it requires yielding. Say that after me, yielding to your spirit. Now, I encourage you, if you want to know the difference between, most of us know what the body is. I don't have to go into the teachings of that. We know it's not eternal. We know it's temporary. It's a housing for your spirit and your soul. But what I clarify in the last live stream I do, and I'll be doing a whole live Zoom workshop on this, is the difference between the spirit and the soul. There's a lot of misconceptions. And even slight misconceptions can really lead us into a place of more seeking, right? And that's what we don't want. We don't want to keep seeking. We want to find the premise of what I'm embodying, what I'm living, and what I'm pivoting toward. And it's involved a lot of scaling back on the work that I do. I'm not as active as I once was on social media, although I think that tide is turning where I've got lots of teachings and stuff that I want to put out. I've had to scale back because what I found, and I watched this process happen over about a 2-year period, is I was increasingly working with people and people weren't getting answers. People weren't getting the solutions. And then I was able to see from a higher vantage point that how much of us that are in what we call the spiritual community, or even in the world, how we're all searching. And many of us are just not finding what suffices. Why? Because the soul was never meant to carry the whole burden of finding truth. It's not a flaw. It's design. What you're searching for isn't a system. And there's a reason that every healing path seems to fall short. There's a reason that peace doesn't stay. Who has done some healing work or meditation practice or yogic practice, and the peace that is experienced doesn't stay? It's temporary. And so then once you've had the experience, what it generally does, it gets you searching even more because you've tasted what peace feels like. So you want more of it. Because what you're really searching for isn't clarity, it's connection. You've been designed for connection. Say that after me. I've been designed for connection. Not only have we been designed for connection with each other, we've also been designed for connection with the divine, with God. And we all have that part, don't we? We all have that yearning. Now, some people are going to fill it with sport. Some people are going to fill it with food. Some people are going to fill it with acquisition, building oneself, accumulation. And though they aren't inherently evil, they're misguided because it's not the divine design. And so what happens is we feel undernourished. We feel incomplete. Now, some turn to religion. The challenge with religion is it's often void of what we're really searching for. So we go through the dogma and the rules and the regulations, the guilt or the control. Often it comes in the form of shame. There's a whole spirit. Actually, there are many spirits in the world. Say there are many spirits. And one of the most insidious, one of the most deceptive spirits, it may surprise many of you, is called the spirit of religion. Who has encountered the spirit of religion? I'll be interested to hear in the comments section if you've encountered this spirit, and if you have, what your experience has been like with it. See, it's going to bring shame and judgment and fear. It's often the very thing that turns a lot of people off because they encounter the spirit of religion and then they enter into shame or judgment or fear, and it's quite an insidious spirit to encounter. I have many times in my life, and it's not pretty, let me tell you. What I've encountered is something very beautiful. And when you have an encounter like I have, not that I'm special, it's just that I've said this before, I've been open and available and I've surrendered to it. It's a really important word, one that's sort of been lost in recent times, is true surrender. See, when we think that we are God, I know many teachings exist out there about that we are God. But when we think that we are it, there is an emptiness that ensues with that because we feel alone and the responsibility of what that is. I certainly don't want that experience. But to surrender means to empty thyself, or to empty your own self, and to really be filled with the divine self. That is the act of surrender. That is the act of letting go. You see that in nature. When a leaf falls from the tree, it's that final act of completion, isn't it? When the leaf has served its purpose, it's shaded the tree, it's gone through even different shades of color before it turns finally to auburn, and as it goes through this auburn stage, it releases from the tree and falls to the ground. It's autumn season here in Australia at the moment, and I get out into my local park every day, And I'm watching almost daily now the leaves fall gently to the ground, and that beautiful act of surrender, of letting go and returning to the ground, returning to the soil, making way for something new. It's the language of the divine is throughout all of nature. I'm going to read some comments now. Javita. By understanding our true, my screen's cut off here, Javita, so let me just move it so I can read your comment. By understanding our true desires, we lay the groundwork for a reality that resonates with our authentic self. And you also said peace comes in waves. Don't you love these examples of nature and waves? See, this is another way God communicates with us, is through nature. Most people don't look, though. There are beautiful illustrations and ways that God communicates that we often don't see because we're not looking. And when you've got a spirit that is surrendered and yielded, boy, do you start to see the beautiful tapestry of the divine communicating all the time. Who's been going through, I want to hear from some of you that are either watching or you're actually listening to this part of it anyway. If you're listening to this, what experiences that you have had or you are having, have you gone through a recent awakening experience? If you have, would you share it with me? I'd love to hear about it. And I want to also hear from people that have tried certain paths and found that they didn't work. Maybe it's you, Javita, or Soren, or anybody else that's in there. Maybe you've tried certain paths and you've experienced a temporal relief from it or peace, but it hasn't lasted long term. I want to hear from you as well. And while I'm waiting on that, I want to share with you at this point my Maui retreat coming in October. Here you go.
There comes a moment in every soul's journey when the heart whispers, it is time. Time to awaken. Time to remember who you are. Time to step beyond fear and into the divine truth of your being. If you have felt the stirring, the longing for something more, the knowing deep inside that you are meant for something greater, then this is your sign. This is your invitation. Come to Maui. Come home to your soul. Maui is not just an island, it is a portal, a sacred land where the veil between the seen and unseen are thin, where the heartbeat of Mother Gaia pulses through the earth, calling those who are ready to rise. This retreat is more than a gathering, it's a soul awakening, a rebirth. Through sacred energy work, healing breath, ancient wisdom, and deep communication with spirit, you will shed the old stories, the burdens that you were never meant to carry, and step into the truth of who you are. You will be guided, you will be held, you will be seen. You were led here for a reason. Your soul already knows the path. The only question is, will you answer the call? If you are hearing these words, this moment is no accident. The divine has orchestrated this very instant to reach you, to remind you of the light that you carry, to invite you to step forward, to claim your power, to receive the healing and transformation that has always been yours. This is not just a retreat, it's a homecoming. The doorway is open. The invitation is before you, but only you can step through it. Will you answer? Will you say yes to your awakening? Will you trust the knowing inside of you? Join us in Maui. The sacred land is calling you home. Your journey begins now.
And Maui is such a beautiful place, such a paradise, and such a great template for us to be working from, to have this amazing experience that it will be in October. And I hope, Javita, I hope you join us. I'd love to see you there. In fact, Javita, are you thinking about coming to Maui? Others, this is your invitation. If it resonates with your spirit, if you feel your spirit is saying yes, I want to personally welcome you. And there's a special on at the moment, an early bird special, where if you register, you'll get a discounted rate. That's happening until, I believe it closes soonish. I'll have to speak to Janice about that, but I think that it is finishing soon. So if you plan on registering, let me know. You can email me, you can let me know in the comments, and I'd love to have you there. I want to take this moment now I just feel led in this moment. I don't normally do this, but if anybody has any prayer needs, I want to pray for some people. We all, most of us anyway, know the power of prayer. Prayer is so powerful because what it does is it's invitation. Hello, Kat. Great to see you. See a couple of dog emojis there, I think you've got there. It might be you, Kat, or it could be Javita. It could be you, Soren. I want to take this opportunity to pray for some people, because often we have areas in our life that we want to see breakthrough in. We have maybe a physical need for healing, or we need an emotional healing, or we have a need within our family, a situation that arises. Where prayer is so powerful is what it does is it invites, through invitation, God, the divine, to come in and begins to mark that territory in your life. You begin to open the door, and opening the door is so paramount to the process. It's also a surrendering. Trying to do it in your own strength, trying to work out the solution from the level of the soul. It's a surrendering. It's a release. So if anybody has any, we've got another person joining on the chat, search for peace. Maybe that's your prayer request. Can you confirm that? Maybe you're praying for peace. And we can include all of you in this prayer. I think prayer is very powerful. In fact, I know that prayer is powerful. Javita says self-love and surrendering. So we're going to pray for that. For Javita, we're going to pray for peace. Maybe Timberwolf V6, you can let me know your name so I can pray for you. of course, Javita. Soren, do you have a prayer request that you've got? I'm going to pray for all of you. I'm going to begin now by just beginning with sacred silence. And why don't we all enter that state now of just surrendering, closing our eyes, going within and just getting still. Kat says she needs prayer for health. God, I ask for the door to be open to my words that I'm speaking in this moment. You know everybody's need. You know everybody's need before we even ask for it. And I know that we have to invite you in. And I know that you love when you're invited to move in our lives because you love us dearly. And I lift every need to you. I lift Kat's need to you for healing in her body, healing in her mind, healing in her soul. We just welcome you in and we ask that your presence flood her body, flood her mind, flood her soul, because you're welcome and you're invited. God, we can do nothing of ourselves. But when we yield and we surrender to you, we allow your spirit to come in and to do only what you can do. We invite you into Kat's situation, into Kat's physical body, into her mind. And I speak the words, peace be still. Where there is brokenness, we ask for wholeness. Where there is pain, we ask for release. And for Javita, help Javita love herself more. Help her with the process of learning to surrender, of relinquishing her own effort and strength. And as she surrenders, may your strength come in and flood her. And for the other person that is searching for peace, I pray that a peace settles on their mind and on their soul. And everybody who is listening, even if they're watching the replay, I ask that those physical ailments will begin to come in divine alignment of your divine template. I believe in the power of prayer. We believe in the power of prayer because prayer is invitation for you. And we say, you're welcome. I thank you. That prayer is powerful. And I thank you that you move when we pray. Amen. If you're watching the replay and you need some prayer, maybe you don't want to write it in the comments, but you want some prayer, you can email me directly. My email is paul@pwilliamsofficial.com. I'm going to write that in the comment section on the replay version of this video. I think I'm going to be doing more of that, just offering people a place to come and have prayer. have their needs met. I'm going to be talking next time, I think. I think that's where I'm being led, is to talk more about surrender in the future. Surrender and the power of surrender. But until next time, until I do another live again, I love you all. Know that you can reach out to me anytime with any questions that you might have. I'm here for you. I stand with you. And I'll see you next time.